Are you planning on being in here, or am I just going? Oh, okay. Just wondering. Just wondering. I got 1 minute.
1 minute.
Less than that, about 30 seconds. Well, I only need one, right? Doesn't matter. How do we get started? Do you have to push a start button somewhere?
You're already going.
Oh, I'm live?
Yeah, you're live.
Oh. I didn't know. Well, I'm waiting till 2 o'clock to formally get started here. Hello, everyone, and welcome. From wherever you're listening, I want to thank you for being part of our Treasure of Wealth webinar. Today, we're going to be talking about how to go from 5 to 6 figures in your bank account without having to make more sales. Think about that for a minute. Without having to make more sales, how good is that? My name is Rich Gaines, and I'm excited to have the opportunity of being able to share with you today some great strategies and clues that are a small part of the 7 keys that we cover in our signature Treasure of Wealth system. I have a saying that actions have consequences. Everything you do, everything you say, everything you read. You had a choice today. You could have been like countless others who decided that they would put off taking action, wait till tomorrow, but you made a choice. You made a decision to improve your business and your life. You made a decision that you wanted to receive valuable lessons on how to build a treasure of wealth and have more time, more money, and enjoy a flexible lifestyle. What we're going to be talking about today might be a breakthrough for some of you, a breakthrough that could result in permanent changes on how you think about your business, how you conduct your business, and how you think and talk about wealth, not only in money, but in values, beliefs, and traditions. One of the things that I'm going to recommend is that you start using a journal if you're not already doing so. I definitely recommend having a journal, something to write on while you listen to this webinar. The reason that a journal is so important is it allows you to take your ideas and your thoughts unfiltered and just put them down on a piece of paper. Doesn't matter what you're writing, doesn't matter what you're thinking, just put it down. Don't filter it. Don't think, oh my God, this isn't something that I should be thinking about, or maybe it's not going to work. Just put it down, because I guarantee you that when you come back later and you start looking over your material, you start looking over your information, there'll be some really valuable nuggets that are in that will apply to you and that you can use as you build your treasure of wealth. Now, what do I mean by a treasure of wealth? Treasure of Wealth is our signature step-by-step system featuring 7 key areas containing mind and money principles and strategies of wealth to give you more abundance in your life. This system is a culmination of what I've worked on, thought about, and developed throughout my career and my life. Today, I'm going to talk about 3 of those treasure keys. Now, I need your attention, please. I know it can be hard, but please turn off your cell phones and get off Facebook unless you're on the webinar Facebook page. Because I know that it's hard. Many people think that they can multitask, but the truth is that we can only really focus on one thing at a time, and I want your undivided attention. If you are a business owner with gross income of $200,000 to $2 million, if you own a home and have children, maybe even some grandchildren, and you're serious about getting better results, the next 60 to 90 minutes could change your life. I have a promise I'm going to make to you. On this webinar today, I'm going to show you exactly how you can make more money without having to make more sales, how you can have more flexibility in your life, and how you can save your most valuable resource, time. At the end of the webinar, I'm going to offer you an irresistible offer, something you just won't be able to pass up. It's an irresistible offer to become part of a movement of people who want a treasure of wealth in their business, their life, their family, a treasure of wealth, not only in money, but in values, beliefs, and traditions. You see, all too often, business owners find themselves playing too many roles in a business. They're distracted from their goals. They're not doing enough to build their assets, giving them the freedom and flexibility to enjoy what they have. What they end up doing is they end up creating a job for themselves. I really find it ironic that we come out of the corporate world, we come out of a corporate job doing what we do, and we go into business for ourselves. And then what happens is we end up working longer hours, we end up having less time, we end up thinking that we're in control and enjoying life more. The reality seems to be a bit different, because building a business is far different than being self-employed. My goal today is to save you time, effort, and money so you can have the treasure of wealth that you've always wanted. When we talk about statistics, many of you have heard this before, we talk about a 97% fail rate. That means that 97% of businesses don't survive into the 5th year. Only 3% of businesses survive. I want to tell you that you can be part of the 3% of business owners that make it. And one of the reasons I put together this webinar is to provide you with information and foundations that can help you to succeed. Imagine, take a moment and imagine what your life can be like when you have a treasure of wealth. When you have peace of mind, knowing that you have taken the right steps and the right actions for your business. When you have security against those that would take what you have from you. Imagine what your life can be like. You never have to worry about a lack of time or resources. When you get rid of playing all those different roles in a business, doing what you love, only doing what you love, when you get rid of distractions, when you quit running around like a chicken with its head cut off, how much better can your life be when you can increase your sales and increase your knowledge? I want you to imagine what your life would be like when you know step by step how to master your business wealth. What we're going to cover today are 3 secrets. Secret number 1, planning. Planning saves time, money, and creates clear focus for our vision, our goals, and what we want. Secret number 2, foundations create the systems and processes that allow you to build your treasure of wealth. Secret number 3 is protection, saving money, which is a heck of a lot better than having to replenish it all the time. Now, I have to give you a little bribe. So if you stay until the end, you're going to receive 1 chapter in my Magic of Money book, the e-version. You're going to receive section 1 of the Mind Money Strategy Quick Start Guide. You're going to receive 1 scholarship to our Business Wealth Mastery live event. And I'm going to do a complimentary review of your tax situation, of your tax returns, to see how things are going for you, to see where possibly we can save you more money just by looking at the taxes themselves. I wanted to do this slide to give you some idea of where my background is, some of the things that I've done over my life. Helicopter skiing in the Canadian Rockies was one of my proudest moments. I'd always been a traditional recreational skier, and going helicopter skiing was the most amazing experience that I ever had. I love tennis. Tennis is a passion of mine, and I was number 1 in the 4.5 men's division doubles here in San Diego. I've had, of course, a 30-year career as a law and tax professional. I've built 3 successful companies. I've written 3 books. I use the Treasure of Wealth system that I talk about. I think about it, I talk about it, I implement it, I look at where the gaps are, where the needs are, and I continuously use the system. I've taught at the University of Phoenix. I've done facilitator and I've had facilitation and speaker certifications. I'm in the Toastmasters organization, and I'm a Toastmaster Speaker Bronze. I've been a former chair of the tax section. So these are some of the things that you're getting when you're getting me. You're getting an expert, and over 30 years, I've been working with thousands of businesses and families to create their wealth plans on solid foundations with the right protections and the right thinking. Working together, we figure out what's important. We discuss different strategies that can be used to keep more of what they make and how they can preserve what they've built for generations. What would it mean to you to have an expert guiding you on the right steps and the right actions to take as you plan, protect, and preserve your treasure of wealth? I can tell you that I want to save you the countless hours and mistakes that I've made throughout the years. And believe me, I've made plenty of them. What would it mean to eliminate wasted time, being clear about what you want, and building your treasure of wealth? I have to interject right here that my daughter is building her own social digital media marketing agency. We talk about these ideas, but most of the time, she has a singular track of thinking about how she wants to get it done. And candidly, I have sometimes a difficult time explaining how to make things easier for her and how we can talk about this. I can tell you that for the younger people, if you're open to being mentored, if you're open to learning, the amount of time, the amount of money, the mistakes that you won't have to make, the failures that you don't have, it'll be massively, massively successful to you. Some of you are younger and have time. When you get it right early, when you get it right early, the exponential growth that you have in building your business, building your wealth is fantastic. Other people feel that it may be too late. You're older. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, it's never too late. It's never too late because the past is already the past. You can't change it. The future doesn't exist. All we have is the present. I tell my clients this all the time when they start talking about how they made mistakes or they had a failure. I said, so what? I said, so that's in the past. I said, let's start today and let's fix it today. There are many, many ways to make the 7 key areas work for you and give you the lifestyle that you want. Let me give you a little bit of a preview. One of the things we talk about is cash flow. And a lot of times people will say to me, well, I'm afraid of outliving my money. And as we drill down into what that means, what they're really saying is they're afraid that they're not going to have enough money every month to meet the expenses that they have. So people may accumulate $500,000, $1 million in some kind of a retirement account, and that's what they're concerned about. That's what they refer to, is that they're saying, well, I'm afraid I'm going to outlive my $500,000 or $1 million. And then we get down into some of the specifics, and I start to explain to them. I say, well, let's talk about your budget. Let's talk about what your needs are. Let's talk about what your expenses are on a monthly basis. And after we look at the expenses, then we go into the income. And people realize that, well, wait a minute, they have Social Security, they have pension money, they have IRA money, they have other monies coming in maybe from a rental property or whatever it is that they own. And when they realize that when those sources of income will never, ever, ever go away, and that's critical, those sources of income will never, ever, ever go away, that means that you have a monthly income every single month. And as long as your expenses are less than your income, you will never outlive your money. That's massive, guys. That's huge. Because now the $500,000 and the $1 million that you have in your investment accounts, that money can be used to enhance what you want for your lifestyle. Because remember, you can never, ever, ever outlive your money if that money flow is coming in every single month and it's guaranteed. And that's the goal. The goal is to get you to that point. I like to analogize to the idea of a bike lock. Many people think about wealth and law and tax and money that is so complicated. And we have a step-by-step system to help build a treasure of wealth. And so what do I mean by this bike lock? If I gave you a bike lock and I asked you to open it, you couldn't open it. You wouldn't know what to do. Why? Obviously because you don't have the combination. The treasure of wealth is the same idea. It's a system. It contains 7 key areas. And if you don't know what the key areas are, it's like a bike lock that you don't have a combination to. But what happens when I give you the combination to the bike lock? Well, it's easy. You can open the bike lock. And that's exactly what we're doing here. We're giving you the combination to the 7 key areas so that you can have the treasure of wealth. Once that combination is learned, once you've committed it to your actions every day, to your memory, think about how that applies to the rest of your life. It applies to your business, it applies to your lifestyle, it applies to your family. Look at your recreation, vacation, how you raise your kids. All of these principles in this system are applicable to everything that we do in our life. And what would it mean for you to be able to keep more of what you earn, to build those assets, to stop paying so much in taxes, having more fun, more choice, getting the things that you want in life? The old saying, a penny saved is a penny earned, still rings true. We all know that in business, it takes a lot to make money. Client acquisition costs, marketing, sales, production. What I want you to focus on is once you have the money, if you can get it working for you, if you can keep it in your pocket, how much more valuable would that be than seeing it leak out like a hole in the bucket? So I developed this webinar because I see business owners taking the wrong actions, or they may take the right actions, but at the wrong time. This results in the business owners spending too much, not having enough to build their assets, paying too much in taxes, penalties, interest. Worse, businesses get ripped apart from bad communication, from money that could be better spent in the business rather than on lawsuits, paying the attorneys. I know that a lot of times business owners focus on sales. It's almost like a hamster. They think, if I make more sales, make more sales, make more sales, that'll solve everything. The problem is that the money leaks out. They have uncontrolled spending. They don't have control over themselves, their character, their personality, frivolous matters. Having the right planning, the right foundations, the right protections, and taking the right steps to preserve your hard-earned money puts you in a position to have more fun, more flexibility, and more money. Let me take a moment and give you a little bit about my background, where I came from, and why it is that I'm so passionate and I believe so much in this system. I'm a high energy, get it done kind of a guy who always wanted to be a rock star. Unfortunately, I didn't have a singing voice, so I had to take the more traditional path. I had to get an education and go to school. I went to college. I went to law school. I didn't get enough punishment, so I went on to get an advanced degree in taxation. My name is Rich Gaines. I've had a 30-year career as a tax attorney, and the best part is my wife and I had twins, and they were born on April 15th. Who says the universe doesn't have a sense of humor? I was given a clear message as to my destiny, and I listened. After school, I began life on the hamster wheel. I got a job, bought a car, took on some debt, bought a home, took on some more debt, got married, we had our twins, took on lots of debt. By the time I was 50, I was an expert struggling in the Great Recession. The problem was the hamster was getting tired. That's a picture of way back when. It was about 28 years ago. Is there a different way? Is there a better way? Is there a way that we can build a treasure of wealth without being on that hamster wheel? And the answer, of course, is yes. What I'm going to share with you are 3 secrets today that can show you that different way. Secret number 1, how do you go from 5 to 6 figures in your bank account without having to make more sales? This secret is all about the treasure key of planning. Now, many people, business owners, families, they think that it takes too long. There's not enough time. Well, people plan a vacation. They plan to buy a home. They plan to have a child. But planning for a treasure of wealth, they'd rather listen to fingernails scraping on a chalkboard. What I'd like you to do is right now, take about a minute, and I'd like you to rank from 1 to 10 how well you have planned for your business. Go ahead and take a minute right now, and on a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you think you've planned for your business? I'll be back in a minute. What were some of your revenue goals? What were some of your marketing strategies? What kind of production systems have you put in place? What is that plan that you've had for your business? All right, we're back. I hope that that was somewhat enlightening for you guys to think about what it is that you're really doing and how well you're really planning. Does it seem like we're struggling more and more just to make ends meet? That vacation in Paris has become a staycation, sitting at home on the couch, dreaming of a French experience, drinking French wine, eating French fries, and watching Pepe Le Pew find romance on TV. 1 penny doubled for 30 days will give you $5,368,000. Can you imagine that? 1 penny doubled for 30 days gives you over $5 million. Yet, why is it that for 30 or 40 years, many of us can't get to that first million? Why does it have to take so long? What if there was a new way to set up your business that could shorten that time and get you to those 5 to 6 figures in your bank account? What if you didn't have to worry about time? How valuable would that be? Planning saves time, money, and creates a clear focus. Planning is about one thing. What do you want? 4 simple words. What do you want for your business? What do you want for your lifestyle? What do you want for your family? Do you want to build your business? Are you going to work until you die? Are you going to transfer it to your kids? Are you going to bring in a management team so you can go off and do the things that you like to do? A lack of planning results in family anger, in lawsuits. A lack of planning results in financial abundance is lost. Lack of planning results in failure. Family achievement is lacking, undermining real enrichment. Well, how do we get to good planning? The answer is that I put together what I call the 7 clarities. 2 of those clarities you can see. The first is purpose. What makes you different than anyone else on the planet? What is it in your background, in how you grew up, in how you think, and how you believe that makes you different? My purpose is to teach. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, teacher isn't any big deal. That's no different than any other teacher. The difference is that my entire life, as I talked about in my past, was about education, about all the schooling I had. That's who I am at my core. That's what I love to do. Ask me a question, I'd love to explore the answers. So for me, teaching is my purpose. How about you? What's your purpose? The second clarity is vision. And the way I look at vision is, what difference would you like to make in the world? How are you going to affect and change it? Microsoft's vision was a computer in every home. Apple computer was to make a contribution to the world by making tools for the mind that advance humankind. I want to say that again. Very profound. To make a contribution to the world by making tools for the mind that advance humankind. That was their vision. They just happened to sell computers. How do you go from 5 figures to 6 figures in your bank account without having to make more sales? This is secret number 2, and this is the treasure key of foundations. Now, many business owners and families that are making $200,000 to $2 million, who own a home, have children, maybe even some grandchildren, their thinking is, I'm too busy to build rock solid foundations. I don't have enough time. I already know what to do. What I'd like you to do is to take another minute and rank, or on a scale of 1 to 10, how rock solid do you think are your business foundations? So take a moment and go ahead and rank on a scale of 1 to 10 how good your business foundations are. Go ahead and do that now. Some of those foundations include your sales systems, your bookkeeping. How well is your business protected from a legal perspective? How about your leadership and the culture in your business? All right. What if we could build rock solid foundations and shorten the amount of time that it would take to put those foundations in place? What if you could get that information that would add to what you already know and get you into action by doing rather than thinking about it? Hopefully this exercise was useful to get you thinking about all the different things that you have to do as a business owner, not as a self-employed person. Foundations create the structure to put 5 to 6 figures into your bank account. 2 of the top 9 foundations are demand and sales. You have to have demand for what you sell, or a product or your service. If you don't have a demand, it doesn't matter how smart you are. And once you know you have that demand, then you have to get out there and do the selling. We get into much more detail, of course, in the 9 foundations and exploring these areas and looking into your marketplace, how your business can position itself, what you can do to create greater wealth, to create more money, and be able to put that money into a place where you have those 5 to 6 figures in your bank account. I'd like to talk to you about a couple of clients. The first client, she was doing about $200,000 of gross revenue. And when she came to us, it was very clear that the foundations of her business were not very good. She clearly thought of herself as a self-employed person, just doing the labor work herself. Her tax structure was not good. She didn't know what taxes to pay, what she was responsible for. And the good news for her is that she was expecting that her income was going to start increasing substantially. So that was one of the things that we were concerned about, is as her income went up, she's going to pay more taxes unless we can do something. What we did is we gave her a paycheck for some of her compensation, and she was a certain kind of corporation we call an S corporation, where a lot of money flows through to her and then gets taxed. And so she wasn't paying herself any salary. What we did was we put her on a salary, and the benefit of putting her on the salary was that we were able to put away $20,000 into a retirement account for her benefit. She hadn't been doing that kind of investing or putting that kind of money away in the past. So we increased what she was able to do, and by putting that amount of money away, she saved herself over $4,000 to $5,000 in taxes in addition to the money that she put into this account. The good news is we're going to be meeting tomorrow and talking about what we're going to do for this year, because with her income going up substantially, we have an opportunity to do even more planning, to put even more money away, and to get her greater benefits, which leads me to the second client that we had. Now, this particular client was doing very well, making $1 million. That's what he was making. He was taking home $1 million. The problem is he was paying about $500,000 in taxes, and that was it. It was just all going to the government. What we did with this client is we set up a special structure that allowed this client to put away over $500,000 of what he was making into an account for his own benefit. And by putting that amount of money away, he was able to save over $250,000 in taxes. This is the power of the Treasure of Wealth, our systems, and making sure that the right foundations are in place. With our signature Treasure of Wealth system, these are the kinds of stories that are possible when you work with us. How do we go from 5 to 6 figures in our bank account without having to make more sales? Secret number 3 is protection. Many business owners, people think, oh, I don't want to worry about protection. I don't need it. I'll worry about it later. I want to ask you a question. Have you ever had someone come in and take something from you that was very valuable? If your answer is yes, that's what protection is all about. What if I told you that it actually costs less to have protection than not to have protection? What if I told you that by not having protection, you won't be able to put away 5 to 6 figures in your bank account? What if I told you that by being able to put 5 to 6 figures in your bank account, you would have even more protection from those that want to take it away from you? How valuable would that be? One more time, I'd like you to take a moment, and I'd like you to rank on a scale of 1 to 10 how well you think your business is protected. So go ahead and do that right now. Do you have a structure for your business that will protect against lawsuits? Did you realize that by putting money into a certain kind of an account, that no one can take that money away from you? Those are a couple of examples of the kinds of protections I'm talking about. I'm going to suggest to you that if you've got anything other than an 8 that you scored on your protection and on the other two areas that we talked about, on the planning and on the foundations, this is an area that you absolutely should come in and not only either talk to us, or as we'll invite you at the end of this webinar to come to the live event, because it's absolutely critical, it's imperative that you guys have the opportunity to take these actions. Protection saves money, which is less costly than replenishing money. What do I mean by that? Going out and getting a new client is expensive. Client acquisition costs. Paying penalties for doing things wrong is expensive. And you may think that when you get a notice from a government agency, whether it's the IRS or some other place, and you go, well, it's 50 bucks or 20 bucks or $100, and that's not a big deal, and you just pay it. Well, think about that. $50, $100, what could you have done with $50 or $100 that you didn't have to pay for making a mistake? You could have gone out to dinner. You could have gone to an amusement park. You could have bought a toy for your kids. So many things that a lot of times people just overlook it and they just pass it by and they say, well, it's not a big deal. Well, it is a big deal, because when you add up those numbers over the course of a lifetime, and you look at how much money, you just say, well, forget it, I'm not going to worry about it. How much more money could you have saved for yourself during that time? And that saving of the money, you didn't have to do anything more. We talked about a penny saved is a penny earned. Once you have it, it's yours. And if you can keep it, how great is that? There's nothing else you have to do. It's already there. You know, one of the things we talk about sometimes when I do speeches and all is I ask people, when you're walking down the sidewalk and you see a penny, do you pick it up? And some people, you know, most of the room actually does raise their hand, believe it or not, which is kind of cool. Because think about it, there's a penny lying on the sidewalk, and you don't have to do anything to be a penny richer. That's all you have to do. Bend down and pick it up. That's it. You didn't have to work for it. You didn't have to get more clients. You didn't have to make more sales. You didn't have to do any of that stuff. It's amazing. It's amazing how much money people leave on the table. So there's two things when we talk about protection. The first is compliance. Compliance, believe it or not, I know it's not enjoyable. I know people don't want to do it, but it's very important, because compliance is just about following the rules and the regulations, filing the forms on time, doing what's needed. Because the last thing that happens, or the worst thing that happens, is when you get examined by some agency like the IRS, the amount of time, the amount of money, the amount of headache of pulling together all the documents, pulling together all the backup things to what you've reported, that's a massive waste of time, energy, resources. Because it's not just you, but it's also your staff that may be helping you with that, or maybe your bookkeeper that's doing this. And so now all of a sudden, there's thousands and thousands of dollars of time that's being wasted because you didn't do the compliance correctly. And worse, if you didn't have the compliance at all, then you're going to be paying penalties and interest. I get it. It's not fun. Nobody wants to do compliance. But you know what? If you can do it, you hire somebody to do the compliance for you. If you can't, then you spend part of your day, whether it's a half an hour in the morning or a half an hour at night, part of the planning process, part of your daily activities, and you just do a little bit every single day. because the amount of money that you can protect from yourself just by having that compliance is huge. I'm going to suggest that I know in the financial services industry, it's one of the most heavily regulated industries that there is out there. And when a state auditor, regulator comes in and wants to see all your client files and they want to see how the management of the money was working, all these other things, it's atrocious. It's amazing how much time is wasted and how much, if you don't have your documents set up correctly, the violations that you'll have and what you have to do to correct it, it's huge. It's a massive money waster. The other way that you protect wealth is simply by the structure of the entity that you set up. I know many of you have heard about having a corporation. There's different kinds of corporations or a limited liability company. These are all really, really important. And one of the things that we focus on as part of our work with our clients is looking at this treasure key of protection. I want to share with you a couple of client stories. First is a client who didn't have good planning. This guy sold a business out in New York, and it was back in about 2006, 2007. And he started investing in real estate development projects. One was in Texas in particular. Now, nobody could really see the crash of 2008 coming, but this guy thought he could do it all himself. And so he didn't have professionals looking at the investments. He simply put the money in, and he figured everything would be fine, and of course, it didn't. He didn't have real estate professionals helping him. He didn't have advisors looking at the project. He didn't understand what the risks were should things not work out. And then the second part of this story is he was looking to get into some kind of a new business, a new franchise or whatever. And as he started looking at this one franchise, he never came to see us. So this guy had a whole franchise agreement, a whole contract, and he never just asked us to spend, a few hours looking at this contract and seeing whether it would be worthwhile or not. I actually couldn't believe it. I mean, we have this relationship. We were doing his legal work and his tax work, and he never asked us. So this guy thought he was buying a Verizon store. Well, Verizon's good, It's you got all the phones and everything, and it's fantastic. The problem was he wasn't buying a direct Verizon store. He was buying a third-party vendor that sold Verizon. And what happened is every time Verizon came out with a new phone, or Apple came out with a new phone, and Verizon was the one that was selling the packages, because this guy's franchise was worded in such a way, he had to wait like 3 months before he could actually sell the same packages that Verizon was selling directly. So think about that. This guy's 3 months behind the curve in terms of getting out there with new products, new promotions, and things that Verizon was offering. I don't mean to laugh, but it was insane. It was ridiculous. He just didn't take the right steps and do the right planning. Now, the second client was very different. This gentleman was a business coach. He had a partner. He was operating a company, and he was opening up the San Diego territory. And after about 3 years, give or take, he decided he wanted to strike out on his own, form his own company, and build his own coaching business rather than using the model that he had been using. So, of course, because he was because he was building out a business, or he had a business, he had office space for that business. And the question was, well, if he shuts down the office space and he goes and starts a new company and opens up a new company, the problem was what was going to be his liability on the lease with the landlord. Now, this guy was a corporation, and that was the good news. And the lease was in the corporation's name. That was good news. And the best part was that for whatever reason, the landlord never got a personal guarantee from himself personally. What that meant is that because he had a corporation and the lease was in the name of the corporation, he could walk away from that business and the landlord couldn't do a thing to him. This guy had high integrity, so he decided that he was going to negotiate an arrangement with the landlord rather than simply walking away. And I think that that was a really good result. And I would certainly never recommend that you simply walk away from obligations. That, of course, has a lot of qualifications. It's too much to go into now, but you want to come from a place of integrity, because that's what you have in business. It's your reputation. That's how trust is built. That's how you'll do better for yourself. When we talk about business being done right, we talk about business owners who are willing to listen, business owners who are open to new ideas. They rely on their professionals. The reason I said it that way is because I was listening to a motivational tape once, and the speaker was saying that you rely on your professionals and pay your professionals well because they will save you a lot of money in the long run. And there's kind of a funny phrase. It's, if you think hiring a professional is expensive, try hiring an amateur. Business owners who have family gatherings, business owners communicate, business owners have clarity. Let me ask you a question. Are you enjoying the webinar so far? I certainly hope so. Let's go over what we've covered. We've covered 3 secrets. Secret number 1 is planning saves time, money, and creates clear focus. Secret number 2, foundations create the structure to put 5 to 6 figures into your bank account without having to make more sales. Secret number 3, protection saves money, which is less costly than replenishing it. Who wants to take things to the next level? Are you ready to take things to the next level? If you're ready, put in the question and answer box, I'm ready. I hope all of you are typing in, I'm ready to take it to the next level. What are we going to do? What are we offering? How are you going to become part of the community of people, the movement of people who want a treasure of wealth? What we're doing is a one-day live experience, Business Wealth Mastery, right here in San Diego. Business Wealth Mastery is all about helping you plan, set foundations, and protect what you have. Having more money, more time, more flexibility. I know that in less than 30 days, you will learn how to have more focus, create a plan that's in alignment with your goals. You will learn good business foundations and begin protecting what you have. So let's take a look at what you're going to get. You're going to get the one-day live Business Wealth Mastery experience, which is a $1,000 value. You're going to get a guest pass to the one-day event, which also is a $1,000 value. You're going to get a 7-week training course on the 7 treasure keys of wealth, a $1,400 value. We're going to do a 30-minute review of the type of structure that you have for your business, a $1,500 value. And you're going to get the Mind Money Strategy Quick Start Guide. That's a total value of $5,297. Now I want to ask you a question. When we talk about disposable income, I want to ask you what you spend that money on. Do you spend that money on Starbucks? Do you spend that money on movies? Do you spend that money on toys? Do you spend that money on things that once you've spent it, it's gone? Now, I'm not saying you don't have fun in your life and you don't do things that you want to do, but I want you to think about where your money is going. Is it being spent, blown on something that's temporary? Or are you investing it? Are you putting in something that's going to make you more money in the long run? I'm sure you've heard Robert Kiyosaki in his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And in that book, he talks about the difference between assets and liabilities. We see all too often, particularly in the United States with its consumer culture, that people buy liabilities. They buy boats, they buy cars, they buy toys, they buy things that ultimately wear out. You don't have them anymore. in Robert Kiyosaki's book, he talks about buying assets, putting your money in places where it will start to work for you. One of the bonuses that we're putting on this one-day experience and in today's offer is we're going to do 12 months of monthly strategy calls, which is an $1,188 value. These strategy calls are my opportunity to provide a 30-minute summary of various different business, legal, and tax principles and strategies to help you. If you only got that, if you only got the monthly strategy calls, that would be worth the entire investment that we're asking you to make today. Because what you're going to get is a one-day business wealth mastery experience, the guest task to the one-day business wealth mastery experience, the 7-week training course, the 30-minute review of the business structure, the Mind Money Strategy Quick Start Guide, and 12 months of the monthly strategy calls. That's an that's a $6,485 value. Let's talk about this idea of money replenishing itself. Now, some of you who may be employed, what happens every time you get a paycheck? Your money replenishes itself. Every 2 weeks, every month, you continue to get more money. For those of you who are business owners and you make sales, what happens? Every time you make a sale, your money replenishes itself. So this idea that you never have enough money